We all know the feeling. You crawl into bed, completely exhausted from a long day, but the exact second you turn off the lights, your brain clocks in for a completely unprompted shift. Suddenly, you're surrounded by swirling anxieties, reviewing a conversation you had 5 years ago. Neuroscientists define this experience as pre-sleep cognitive activity, or perseverative cognition. Perseverative cognition is a psychological term for the continuous, repetitive thinking about negative events in the past or the future. It's a specific, measurable biological state. A paradox emerges when we try to stop it. The harder you consciously fight these racing thoughts, willing yourself to sleep, the more physically awake and alert your body becomes. Your brain operates as a highly functional system, even when working at the exact wrong time. The stakes are higher than simple frustration. According to clinical studies on sleep deprivation, losing sleep biologically degrades the brain's ability to suppress unwanted thoughts the following day. This flowchart demonstrates the bidirectional loop between sleep loss and cognitive control. One night of overthinking makes the next night significantly harder to manage. Lost sleep impairs cognitive networks. Without rest, the brain lacks executive control to filter worries, keeping you awake again. To permanently snap this cycle, we have to investigate the ancient evolutionary root of why the brain acts this way in the dark. The primary trigger for this mental spiral is actually your environment. Think about the sudden, steep drop in external distractions and physical stimuli when you prepare for sleep. The world goes completely quiet. This schematic highlights the brain's default mode network. This interconnected web automatically powers up whenever your mind is idle. When activated, it shifts attention entirely inward. Without external distractions, the network systematically rummages through unresolved memories, past awkwardness, and future anxieties. The stillness of the night reveals existing worries that were simply drowned out by the noise of the day. Evolutionary biologists offer a specific reason for why the brain chooses our most tired moments to review potential threats through the sentinel sleep theory. This academic text details the biological hypotheses behind this theory. The core premise is that because sleep left early humans highly vulnerable to predators, the brain evolved to keep a sentinel on duty, a mechanism scanning for threats while the body rests. Today, this mechanism misfires because our sympathetic nervous system cannot distinguish between a real physical predator and a perceived social or professional threat. The sympathetic nervous system is the network of nerves that triggers our fight or flight response. This persistent thinking represents your brain's ancient guardian diligently working the night shift, flooded with cortisol, your primary stress hormone, because it perceives you are in physical danger. You cannot use logic or willpower to force this sentinel to go to sleep. You must speak the biological language of the nervous system. The goal is to manually shift your body out of that sympathetic threat state and into the parasympathetic state. The parasympathetic state is the network responsible for promoting rest, digestion, and physical recovery. By lowering your heart rate with specific, slow breathing patterns, you manually force the brain to exit its threat state. You are giving it physical proof that the environment is safe. This is why a wind-down ritual is neurochemically important. Reading a book or taking a warm bath actively lowers your cortisol levels before you even get under the covers. Achieving physical calmness serves as the specific physiological signal required to tell your internal sentinel it is safe to stand down. There are 2 final environmental tactics you need. First, avoid energy mismatch. If you get into bed before you are actually physically tired, you create a reservoir of idle energy that the default mode network instantly converts into anxiety. You need to align your energy. The bed must remain a strict physical cue for sleep. You should only enter it when rest is imminent. If overthinking persists for more than 20 minutes, you must physically leave the bed and walk into another room. This uses a quirk of psychology known as the doorway effect. The doorway effect is a phenomenon where crossing a physical threshold forces your brain to reset its context. This action helps compartmentalize your thoughts, prompting the brain to drop its current anxiety loop. You don't have to spend your nights fighting your own mind. By understanding your biology, aligning your energy, and physically signaling safety, you can finally relieve your evolutionary guardian of its post and reclaim your night.